On this week's Fairfield County Farm Page, Connie Smith with OSU Extension Fairfield County talks with Nate Horn, president of the Fairfield County Cattlemen Association. And Connie speaks with Lauren Vyers from Fairfield Soil Water Conservation District.
Welcome to Fairfield County Farm Page. I'm pleased to be with you today with Nate Horn, president of the Fairfield County Cattlemen Association. How you doing?
Nice to be here, Connie.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, busy year.
Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. 2024, finished out the year with that steak trailer at the county fair.
Yep.
Going to celebrate with a banquet. When and where?
We're going to have the banquet March 8th at Lithopolis Methodist Church.
Okay.
It'll be at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And I think we're going to have Aaron Leith cater that banquet that evening. Leith Smoking and Barbecue.
Yeah.
So he'll be providing the food again this year. We're excited about that. Should be kind of a nice wrap up to a busy year.
Yeah. So what are some of the highlights? I know like there are, you do like scholarships for youth.
Absolutely. We've got 3 scholarships going out this year.
Okay.
I do believe to some very deserving kids that have been in or around the organization for a long time.
Okay. And the other thing I noticed that you guys do is you talk about since 1999 that scholarship program has given back over $36,000.
Yeah, it's gone very well, but we've done a lot for the kids around the area that's been involved in beef and our organization throughout
And
the
that's
years.
really basically one cheeseburger at a time, making that money at the county fair.
1 cheeseburger, 1 steak sandwich at a time. So
Absolutely. And not only that, let's just wrap it up just a little bit. 5,400 sandwiches were sold during the Fairfield County Fair, more than a ton of beef.
yeah. I would be remiss to say that, we could not have done that without all the volunteers that spent, an hour a shift, multiple shifts in that trailer. I mean, we wouldn't have made it without them. We really wouldn't. But we were very blessed for a good group of people to help us out this year.
Yeah.
And very, very thankful for everyone's efforts involved.
Yeah.
And it went pretty smooth overall.
So that ton of beef, 2,200 pounds of beef, goes through that steak trailer. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you all sit down and you say, well, how we doing about midweek? Try to figure out how much money you got.
Right.
But you don't just take that to the bank, do you?
No, that is a very kind of budgeting decision come like Tuesday night, Wednesday night, trying to figure out where we've been, how the week's gone, what we're going to need to finish the week, but also what we're going to be able to take to the sale and give back to the kids in that matter through the beef sale and stuff like that. I mean, we've always tried to been a decent supporter, and this year I feel like we did a very excellent job going in and showing our support to the kids.
Yeah. 7 steers? 6, 7 steers?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I know we shared at least 1 with another business, but yeah, absolutely. I think it was at least 7.
And I think it was kind of the unspoken of every kid that hits that ring, cattlemen are going to try to give $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, we, another board member and I sat there and we made sure that we were trying to bid on them quick, get those kids up to $1,000 as quick as we could. And if we wound up buying them, we wound up buying them. I mean, that's just as best we could do.
Yeah.
If we didn't have any competition, we gladly purchased them, but we were trying to do the best we could to help the kids out.
Well, and that's a really cool thing because, that steer project's a very long project, one of the longest ones on the fairgrounds.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to celebrate March the 8th, Fairfield County Cattlemen's Banquet, really good meal, brisket only. Anyone's welcome to attend. March the 8th, Lithopolis United Methodist Church. Very pleased to have Nate Horn with me, president of the Fairfield County Cattlemen. It's very cool. Thank you.
Yep.
morning. It's Connie Smith. I'm with Lauren Vyers, Fairfield SWCD. Hey, Lauren, I have my bird feeders out.
Awesome.
Great time of year. How about you?
Absolutely. Me too.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So what birds do we typically see around our feeders right now?
Yeah, I mean, there are actually several different birds that overwinter here in Ohio. So you might see a variety of finch species, blue jays, cardinals, maybe even a bluebird if you're lucky, all kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I'm pretty much, I have a separate feeder for finches because I have a specialized mix that I get at a local feed store that is finch favorites. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I noticed during our recent snowfall, I looked out. I've learned to keep these feeders outside my kitchen window.
Okay.
It's like and there was like 6 or 8 finches all over this feeder, just going crazy. What are some of the things that I need to be careful of when I have that many finches together?
Yeah. So providing a food source is awesome for these birds over the winter. It's a tough time for them, and their immune systems can become weakened just like ours when the weather is bad. So one thing with finches is sometimes they do get conjunctivitis, which is basically like a pink eye for birds.
Okay.
So if you ever look out there and you see a bird with kind of a big crusty eye patch, you know it's time to take down that bird feeder, maybe take it away for about 2 weeks, let the finches kind of redisperse, and disinfect it just so other finches don't contract it also.
Oh, okay. Okay, so cleaning that feeder is really important.
Yep.
Yeah, clean the feeder. And then just kind of watch and see what's going on around the feeder and kind of just try to really hone in on, if we've got birds that have some problems.
Exactly. We don't want them passing it to each other at this really great food source you've provided.
Yeah, okay. So like I see cardinals, at my feeder quite a bit. I have one lonesome blue jay who kind of rules the roost.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
That kind of rules the roost. So some of the other things, and like I try very hard to give a little bit of diversity, but the black oil sunflower seeds seem to be the cardinal favorite.
Oh, yes.
And I have a little mix I put in with some peanuts, for my blue jay. What are some of the other birds that we might see that might be traveling through that we could give a food source to?
Yeah, so a really cool one you might see this time of year is actually called a dark-eyed junco.
Okay.
And I have a picture to pull up here.
Perfect.
These guys actually fly in. Here you go, hopefully you can see that.
Okay.
These guys actually fly down south from Canada. So Ohio is their southern migration for them. And a cool thing you'll see on them is they kind of have a pretty slate colored back to them and kind of a light pink beak. So they're kind of cute. You might see them. They're mostly ground feeders, so they'll pick up all of the leftovers that have fallen out of the feeder onto the snow below.
Yeah, I actually invested in a ground feeder that is like just it's got a screen. And, when it's not filled with snow, I have to keep the snow out of it. I do see a lot of ground feeders. And my cardinals seem to be a little bit more of a ground feeder as well. They like to, you always see them like around the ground there. What are some of the other things you would recommend folks if they want to get into bird feeding and bird watching? What are some of the things they could do?
Yeah, so obviously putting a feeder in your backyard makes it really easy, right? Picking a spot that you can see. Getting a good pair of binoculars and some kind of a guidebook is always helpful too for identifying those.
Yeah.
There's actually the Merlin Bird ID app, and that makes it really easy for you to kind of answer questions about what bird you're seeing, and then it'll pop up and give you a few options and see what you have.
Well, see, here's a question, because I keep seeing this bird at my feeder, all red, big red head, and then black and gray body. What am I seeing?
Yeah, so it sounds like you might have a red-headed woodpecker, actually,
yeah,
which is a
cool.
pretty cool bird to have.
Yeah.
And they especially love suet feeders if you have one of those,
Oh,
too.
okay, because I kind of, I've gone through periods where, like, I'm really happy with all the birds I have, and I can see a few cardinals, and I can see this, and I can see that, and then sometimes I get really disappointed because there may be a day or so where there's nothing at the feeder. What's going on there?
Yeah, so one thing that might be happening is if another predator comes into the area, a lot of those birds will disappear quite quickly. That actually happened to me the other day. I was watching the birds and all of a sudden they all disappeared, and I looked up in the tree and there was a Cooper's hawk that had flown in.
Oh, wow.
And while Cooper's hawks, they love mammals and little mice and things like that, but they will go after feeder birds too. So they're smart and they fly away.
Yeah. Well, it's a great pastime to watch the birds, especially, with the kind of winter we're having. This feels like an old-fashioned kind of snowy winter in Ohio. So I'm very pleased to have Lauren with me talking about feeding the birds, and we hope you'll enjoy some of her videos of bird feeding at her bird feeder at her home. Thanks for joining us.